KGW, where the news comes first. News Channel 8 at sunrise starts now.
And as we approach 5 o'clock here on a Wednesday morning, we're starting with big breaking news we're tracking this morning. A Portland police officer shot, and right now in the hospital, police have locked down a neighborhood of southwest Portland near 41st and Capitol Highway. They are looking for that gunman who is believed to be in that neighborhood on foot.
There is a heavy police presence right now, multi-agencies involved here. Officers told our reporters this is a very serious situation. They want neighbors in this area to stay in their homes because, again, there is a man with a gun on the loose. Right now, let's get out to News Channel 8's Ashley Korsland. She is live on scene gathering more information for you. Ashley.
Well, Brenda and Russ, police believe that suspect has an AR-15, and we don't know if he's on the move. We do not know if he's injured. So stress, neighbors, stay in your homes. You should be getting reverse 911 calls notifying you to stay in your homes and do not go outside. I want to give you a look at the scene here. We were moved several blocks down the road here because police, again, telling us it's a dangerous situation here. So very heavy police presence. Multiple agencies were told that Portland police are using a airplane using heat-seeking sensors, trying to look down to see if they can find that suspect on the ground. We're still learning a little bit more about what led up to this, but Portland police do confirm that it may have started with a traffic stop, and at some point the suspect and the officer exchanged gunfire. We're told the officer was hit. We do not know where or how many times. It's unclear right now if that suspect is hit, so we don't know if that person is injured. But I want to give you a description of the suspect right now. A white male with short black hair, or he may be bald. We're told he's an adult. We do not know an age other than that. Again, he could be on the move, and police do believe he has an AR-15. So right now the CERT team is and also crisis negotiators in case they do locate this individual and it does possibly turn into a standoff. So we have a lot of resources on hand here, and neighbors are not able to get through here. I'm told it's about a 4-block radius around Primrose and Capitol that people are not able to get in. We've been talking with neighbors trying to get through the crime tape here. We do have a quick interview we can play for you of one neighbor who got turned around right here. Take a listen.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, that's scary. I mean, because we live here, and this is not, a bad area. This is a good area to live in, and so, for this to happen, it's kind of crazy.
Now, obviously, a very scary situation for neighbors. I do want to also let you know police have confirmed they have detained several people. We don't know how many or how, if it is related to this situation. We will be checking up on that frequently with police to get an update on that. And one more thing is we learned that a police canine somehow got loose amidst this scene. We don't know when or how. It would look like a German Shepherd, and police are concerned. They're not sure if the dog is injured, but say the dog could be out here somewhere. So if you see that dog, call 911. And of course, if you see any suspicious looking people maybe running around your backyard or anywhere in your neighborhood, again, call 911. So when we get an update, we'll be back with you later in the show. For now, back to you.
And Ashley, I know this is a very fluid situation out there, and you just talked to Sergeant Pete Simpson, but a lot of people, I'm sure, in that neighborhood are wondering what they're going to be doing as the morning goes forward here. If they have to get to work or school, I mean, can they leave their homes to get out of the neighborhood? Do we know that yet? I know it's still early, but...
Russ, I can tell you, from what I've seen, we've seen a few cars coming down this road that you were able to drive out of the behind the police tape here. But that is something we'll be asking Portland police as people are waking up, because people do need to get to work and school. I can tell you, we just talked to a few people trying to drive through here to get home from work. And one girl said that police weren't letting her in. She couldn't do the She didn't know what she was going to do, and she was concerned because her brother is at their house right now, and she says they don't lock the doors. So she was trying to reach him to let him know to lock the doors, don't let anyone in the house. So it is very scary for neighbors. And of course, police say it's just a very active, we're just getting so much information right now that police themselves are just trying to kind of catch themselves up here, and they're passing info as they get it. So very new, late developments here, and things are late breaking. So as we learn more, of course, we'll keep you posted.
We will get right back to you as soon as you have more information. Also, people can go to KGW.com, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll have it all.
All right, let's go over to Chris McGinnis now, and let's talk about this neighborhood, Chris, and maybe a way to get around it.
Sure. Let's go ahead and bring up the map once again so people at home have an idea of exactly where we're talking about. And as we show you this, be in mind, or keep in mind, the police have told us that this is a fairly fluid situation and that they could move in very short notice. This perimeter, this area that they've got cordoned off, could move very quickly on short notice to expand or contract. But right now we're talking about the area on Southwest Capitol Highway between 41st and Primrose. That's, as you heard Ashley mention, about a 4 or 5 block area of Capitol Highway that's tied up with this situation. They're also including the side streets around that area in this cordoned off heavy police activity area. The way to get around this, if you're traveling just through the area, obviously would be to use Barber Boulevard to the south, or on the west, right where it says Southwest Primrose Street, that's actually 45th Drive. You could use that to get around the area as well. So this is what we're looking at. We'll keep you posted on this throughout the morning. Obviously, a very fluid situation in Southwest Portland. Brenda?
Thank you, Chris. It's 2 minutes after 5. Also new overnight, Portland police spent at least part of the night questioning 3 people at Mount Tabor Reservoir. They suspect 2 young people urinated in the water. This is video from a similar situation back in July of 2011. So far, though, this morning, you should not have to worry about your water. The Water Bureau took the reservoir offline before police even got there. Its spokesperson told us workers saw the kids on a security camera. The Bureau hasn't decided if it'll drain the reservoir because it still needs to figure out what these kids actually did before authorities take any action.
Covering Washington County this morning, a husband and wife charged with promoting prostitution, and the victim, police say, is a 17-year-old girl. Police arrested Devontae Donahue, and we have a shot of him here from one of his previous mugshots. They say he and his wife dropped off the girl at a Beaverton motel to have sex with a man they thought was a paying customer, but instead it was officers who were waiting inside.
They were able to determine that she truly wasn't 20, that she's 17 years of age, is from the Vancouver area, and has history of being victimized under human trafficking for some time.
And police say Donahue then took off in his car. They caught him after he hit 3 other vehicles and then this fence. Inside his trunk, police found a semi-automatic rifle and ammunition. The 17-year-old girl is safe this morning with detectives.
After years of cuts, the Portland Public School District is getting ready to hire between 350 and 400 people. It's recruiting teachers from as far away as Texas to fill all those positions. The district is holding a job fair today at Marshall High School. More than 125 candidates have scheduled interviews, but walk-ins can come and meet staff and learn what it's like to live and work in Portland. In just a few hours, we will know the name of Portland's newest bridge over the Willamette River. The 4 finalists are the Abigail Scott Dunaway Bridge, Cascadia Crossing, Wyese Bridge, and Tillicum Crossing. Construction on the bridge started back in 2011, and it's part of a $1.5 billion project. The new transit bridge will serve the Portland to Milwaukee Max Orange Line. It'll open in September of next year.
We have some new information this morning on that school fire in Beaverton that we brought you as breaking news here on Sunrise yesterday. Firefighters are telling us now that a portable classroom at Highland Park Middle School is just too damaged to ever figure out exactly how the flames started. It was used as a storage room for theater props and extra desks. They're now burned, and the damage is estimated to run about $100,000.
Suspension lifted. That's the ruling from a judge who says a Wilson High School lacrosse player can return to the field, at least for now. The school suspended Jackson Fletcher from the team for 28 days for violating the school's drug and alcohol policy. The federal judge temporarily lifted that suspension while the case is heard.
And the issue in this case, and this one that I think the courts need to decide in Oregon, is when does the authority of the school stop, and when do we go back to having the rights of the parents take over? And this was presented squarely in this case.
The judge also ruled that Fletcher has to attend a 6-hour drug and alcohol class, and he cannot attend prom.
All right, time to bring in Nick, and we're talking about clouds and just the lightest of rain out there this morning. It was almost not enough to start the windshield
Did you-
wipers for me.
Oh, I
Yeah.
had mine
but,
going.
but I did, but just barely.
I had mine going, but not the whole time, and it's a pretty short drive for me. So, light moisture. You almost can't hear it if you're walking outside. Walking to my car this morning, I could tell it was raining, but it wasn't loud enough to make any noise. So we have cloudy skies, we have a little mist. You can see it here in the tram cam, which is actually why I'm starting with it, because you sort of see that low cloud appearance, almost that misty appearance. That's what we're talking about. It's 48. Actually, temperatures pretty much the same everywhere this morning, and that's because we have a lot of cloud cover all over the place. And we have moisture from Astoria through Seaside and Tillamook. You have some of the Coast Range. And then if you wanted to find some of the more consolidated moisture inland, right now you're about Salem. You're into like Mount Angel, Almsville, Silverton, Woodburn, seeing some moisture. It's been light there, but it's been coming down consistently for the past at least couple of hours. And then Canby, Hubbard, Molalla, Estacada, same thing. You back this out a little bit, move into the metro area here. This is the kind of moisture Russ and Brendan and I were just talking about. It's super, super light. In fact, look at this band right over 405 here. There really isn't a whole lot. So between I-5 and 205, and again, right there in that downtown 405 corridor, you have some pockets of light showers. You can back that up a little more. Vancouver and into southwest Washington, St. Helens, Kalama, all seeing about the same kind of stuff, just light showers. Upper 40s and lower 50s. So I may not show you the temperatures a whole lot this morning because they're not really going to change. This system coming in, there's a little warm front buried in it. You can see most of the moisture is pushing north of us, but there will be enough to keep it going throughout the first part of the day for us and then slowly tapering off. I don't think the afternoon is dry. I just think you'll see more widespread moisture now and this morning for the first part of the day compared to what you have coming for the second half. So mostly cloudy, only in the low to mid 50s. I think you'll get to about 53 to 55 for the Oregon coast. And scattered showers, especially the farther north you go. So Astoria more than what you'll see in Newport. I do expect scattered showers in the Cascades. That snow level about 5,000 feet. So some rain, some snow showers for the highest spots. The metro area, we're going to go with mostly cloudy skies. Showers again, especially for the first part of the day. Temperatures there staying about 58 to 60. I don't see a huge range today. The Gorge, you'll go about 60. Now, Cascade Locks should actually see a fair amount of shower activity today because of the way this system's moving in. It's almost sort of aimed at that area. Mostly cloudy skies for the valley, temps in the 60s. And east of the Cascades, I also expect showers, and we'll go with upper 50s, mostly cloudy skies, and the showers should be fairly scattered. Tomorrow, we'll look for increasing rain. That's the wet day of the week in the upper 50s only. Then partly sunny Friday and mainly dry. And we're dry on Saturday until Saturday night. And then Easter Sunday, we are dry, maybe just some morning clouds, and back to showers in the 60s for Monday and Tuesday. So you're right, it is really light, but it's just enough where you should plan on it rain when you head out.
Yeah, the roads are wet.
Yeah.
Enough to get them damp at least. Thanks, Nick.
Are you seeing any problems because of that?
On the freeways, we're actually off to a pretty good start, guys. I had a little drizzle on my way in. Let's go ahead and pick up the ODOT cameras here in North Portland. This is a look at I-5 up near Lombard. You can see traffic rolling along just fine there. How about the Sylvan Hill? I just rolled in on the Sunset. Had to flick my windshield wipers on for a couple seconds there. It's wet, it's damp, but I've got no problems on the freeways just yet. We'll look over to the east side. This is a quick look at the Banfield rolling out of the Hollywood district towards the I-5 split. And you can see we are mostly good out there on the freeways so far this morning, guys.
All right, we'll be checking back. Thanks.
And we have to check back in on our big breaking news story this morning as well. When we come back here this morning, a southwest Portland neighborhood is locked down right now. Police are out there searching for a gunman who shot a Portland police officer earlier this morning. We'll also take you live to the hospital at some point this hour to check in on that officer's condition. You're watching News Channel 8 at Sunrise, where the news comes first.
From KGW News Channel 8, where the news comes first, this is Breaking News.
And I want to emphasize, we have an armed gunman in the neighborhood, has shot at an officer, injured an officer.
That's Sergeant Pete Simpson this morning, and that is our big breaking news. A Portland police officer shot right now in the hospital this morning, and police have locked down the neighborhood in southwest Portland near 41st and Capitol Highway. They are looking for that gunman, a man with a rifle who is believed to be in that neighborhood on foot.
There is a heavy police presence there right now. Officers told our reporters this is a serious situation. They want neighbors in the area to stay in their homes because of that armed man. News Channel 8's Ashley Korslin has been there since the beginning covering the story for you. Ashley, what's the latest?
Well, Brenda and Russ, we're still waiting on an update from police as far as maybe what neighbors need to do as they're waking up this morning. because a lot of you are heading to work, maybe bringing your kids to school. And right now, this area is still closed, and it will be for hours this morning as police search for this gunman. Now, police tell us he is armed with an AR-15. They do not know if he was injured or if he was shot from that officer. So at this point, they say he could be on the move. And so they have closed down a large area around 41st and Capitol. I want to get you to a soundbite here with Sergeant Police Pete Simpson with Portland Police as he explained the situation to us earlier this morning. Take a listen.
And I want to emphasize, we have an armed gunman in the neighborhood, has shot at an officer, injured an officer. This man may be injured himself. We don't have really a lot of information about him at this point other than white male armed with a rifle.
Okay, so police tell may have started with a traffic stop several hours ago, and at that point a gunfire was exchanged between the officer and the suspect. The officer was hit. We do not know where in his body or how many times, but we know he's at the hospital right now being treated with what we're told are non-life-threatening injuries. Again, we do not know if that suspect was hit, so he could be mobile. He could be running around the neighborhood out here. I want to give you his description again. A white male. He's an adult. He has either short black hair or he's bald, and again, police believe he is armed with an AR-15. So a very tense situation here for neighbors. The CERT team is on hand. Police are using a piloted airplane right now with heat-seeking sensors to search below, and lots of surrounding agencies like agencies from Washington County here helping out. So if you are waking up this morning and you live in this area, prepare for a very large portion of your neighborhood to be closed down. And we can't stress this enough, but police are telling neighbors, stay inside your homes. You probably got a reverse 911 call earlier this morning telling you not to go outside. So if you see anything suspicious at all, call police. And again, we'll keep you posted as we learn any developments here at the scene on the search for this armed suspect. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much. We do want to send it over to Chris McGinnis because you are really tracking the perimeter here as it affects all those neighbors.
And one of the things, guys, that Ashley mentioned, this is a fluid situation, meaning that it could expand or contract very quickly on short notice at any time. But here's the latest that we know. Again, we're talking about the area near 41st and Capitol and about a 4 or 5 block radius on either side of that area. So that takes you north to Primrose, maybe as far north as Garden Home Road, and certainly as far south as, well, almost the intersection with Barber Boulevard. So that's a fairly big chunk of southwest Portland. Basically, residents being asked to stay inside, no streets passable at this point on about a 4 or 5 block radius around that intersection that we've got bullet pointed there in the center of your screen. The best way to avoid any traffic issues here, stay on Barber Boulevard. That so far has not been impacted by this situation. Or you can follow 45th Drive up the west side of that bounded area. And 45th Drive, just for your perspective, is right under the W where it says Southwest Primrose. That's 45th Drive. So you can see a fairly large area of southwest Portland that we're talking about. We'll certainly keep you posted throughout the morning. Very fluid, changeable situation. And as more details become available, we'll certainly pass them along. Russ?
All right, Chris, thank you. And we now know that that officer who was shot this morning is getting some treatment at Legacy Emmanuel Medical Center.
News Channel 8's Kathy Marshall just arrived on scene there. Kathy, what have you been able to learn?
Well, Brenda, there really is a police presence here this morning. I've seen a few cars come and go, as well as officers from the emergency room. I talked to a few who were leaving the emergency room just a few minutes ago, and their mood would seem to be indicative of what Ashley Korslund is hearing on scene there from Pete Simpson, that this officer's injuries are believed to be non-life-threatening. They simply said they couldn't give us any more information. They were waiting for Pete Simpson to release that to the media. But right now, the officers that were here, a few of them have started to leave, and what we're getting here is almost a sense of relief. We'll stay here and tell you more as we get more information. Russ, Brenda, back to you.
All right, Kathy, thank you very much. And we are on top of this breaking news story this morning. And this late development here, we just learned that our own Nina Melhoff has spoken to a homeowner a few minutes ago who confronted this man with a rifle a short time ago. She talked to him. We'll have that interview for you coming up here just as soon as we can turn it around on News Channel 8 at sunrise. All right, some major developments overnight in Ukraine to tell you about. 6 armored vehicles with troops aboard rolled into the eastern part of the country, and they were flying Russian flags. We have new video here of those tanks and personnel carriers in a town now controlled by pro-Russian insurgents. Some of the troops aboard said they were Ukrainian soldiers who had switched sides. Ukraine's president says he has launched anti-terrorist operations, but there is no sign of Ukrainian military this morning. Secretary of State John Kerry is on his way to Geneva, Switzerland this morning. He will meet with Russia's President Vladimir Putin tomorrow.
We have some new information on that school fire in Beaverton we first brought you as breaking news here on Sunrise. Firefighters say this portable classroom at Highland Park Middle School was just too damaged to figure out how the blaze started. It was used as a storage room for theater props and extra desks that are now charred black. The damage is about $100,000.
New overnight, at least 4 people have died and hundreds are still missing after a ferry sank off the coast of South Korea. Rescue boats and helicopters frantically tried to rescue the 459 people on board, most of them high school students headed on an overnight trip to a tourist island, and nearly 300 of them are still missing this morning. Dozens more are injured. It is not clear yet exactly what caused that ferry to sink. A Navy robotic submarine is back in the water this morning trying to find the missing Malaysia Airlines jet. It did have to surface briefly overnight because of some technical problems, but the search has since resumed. A sweep of the Indian Ocean floor yesterday with the Bluefin 21 was cut short because the water is simply too deep. Today marks day 40 of that search and still no sign of the plane.
It's 5:35. Nick has satellite and radar fired up this morning, checking out some of the rain that's falling in the area.
Yeah, we're not going to get away with just one. We need both this morning, the satellite and the radar. And I wanted to go wide on purpose. I'll spend time zooming in on the Doppler to show you your neighborhoods and show you what you can expect when you head outside. But if you look at the big picture here, I want you to notice how Western Washington is seeing almost all of the rain. Look at that, all along the Oregon coast. There's a little there for the northern Oregon coast, but the Washington coast, you're seeing most of the rainfall. So let's zoom in for a quick second here. Light showers over Portland, Happy Valley, Clackamas, into Gresham, Camas, more East County areas. Around like Canby and Hubbard, there's really not a whole lot left, light stuff. And then around Astoria, Tillamook, you're seeing a little bit of light rain. But again, almost all of that is here. So we just have some really light scattered showers to deal with. So that means overall, mostly cloudy skies, some rain or some light showers in Astoria. There's a little there in Newport. Temperatures will be about 53 to 56, depending on exactly where you are. I'd call it mostly cloudy. I think you'll keep scattered showers going at the northern Oregon coast throughout the day, not as much for the southern Oregon coast. And the same thing applies for the valley. Again, I'm trying to illustrate how far north that moisture is. So Kelso, scattered showers. Salem, Corvallis, a little, especially this morning, but not much for the afternoon. And highs staying there in the upper 50s and lower 60s. I'll still keep it mostly cloudy, but I don't expect a ton of moisture. Now, Cascade Locks, just based on where this system's coming in, you'll see more showers there than you will in Salem, for example, and also more in Cascade Locks than you'll see in the Dalles. Temps there in the upper 50s, low 60s. Also expect scattered showers east of the Cascades and down to 50 today in Joseph, 62 in Pendleton. Central Oregon can also expect to see scattered showers in the mid to upper 50s. Not necessarily calm, but also not breezy, just a little bit of gusty wind at times. Metro area temperatures 58 to 59 on the east side, so scattered showers the farther north you are. But the trend again is to see this decrease throughout the day. Sandy and Estacada will see more showers than, for example, in Vancouver or in Portland. Scappoose 58, McMinnville slightly warmer, and Beaverton and Wilsonville there in the upper 50s. So showers this morning, a little this afternoon, mainly at elevation. Rain tomorrow, though. I have a futurecast queued up that I'll show you next time around that will give you some pretty good rainfall tomorrow. Partly sunny on Friday. If you look closely, I did add in a really light shower Friday for the afternoon, but there won't be much. Saturday's dry until Saturday night. I expect rain Saturday night. Sunday, partly sunny. Easter Sunday, not much moisture. I mean, wake up to some morning clouds and that'll do it. Showers Monday, showers Tuesday in the lower 60s. So we're just getting the slight edge of this weather system, which is why things are so light.
Just brushing by.
There you go.
Thank you.
Big development this morning as police search for that gunman who shot an officer. Nina Melhoff, you talked to a neighbor who confronted this guy?
That's right, Russ. And coming up, you have to hear what he says that suspect said to him when he pulled an assault rifle in his face in his garage. That's coming up.
Welcome back. Our breaking news this morning from Southwest Portland, a neighborhood locked down as police out there search for a gunman who shot a Portland police officer.
He is out there walking around. News Channel 8's Nina Melhoff, you actually talked to a homeowner who confronted this guy.
Yeah, the most frightening story that I've ever heard. I just talked to a man who lives on Southwest Canby. It is right in the heart of where this search is going on for this armed suspect. We were actually just there and got turned away by the SWAT team itself, saying this guy could be anywhere. Okay, so the situation was this man was asleep in his house. He heard his dog barking in the garage where the dog sleeps. Thought that was sort of unusual. He went outside on the deck, looked down over the garage, and saw a guy running away from his house. Well, he didn't take the time to think about maybe this isn't a good idea. He started running after the guy. That's when the suspect turned around, put a rifle in this homeowner's face and said he didn't want to do it, but he would if he had to. That homeowner told him to calm down, settle down. He had already called the police. Maybe this suspect should get out of here. That's when the suspect turned around and ran away. But that homeowner says both of his cars in the garage, all the lights were on, all the doors were open. He was rifling through those cars and had actually ran away. A few minutes later, that is when the police and the SWAT team arrived to search that area around his house looking for this man. So what a frightening story, but we just can't get to him physically right now. It's just too dangerous in that neighborhood. We were right in front of his house and got turned away with the SWAT team with their guns out, with scopes and lights on, looking into bushes, looking for this suspect. So very scary. That is why the police are telling you, please stay inside this morning, but listen for sounds. You know, they're looking for that police canine. They're looking for this guy. If you hear anything suspicious, just call police. Do not go outside and confront this suspect yourself. It's just not a good idea, but what a frightening morning for this man. Back to you.
Yeah, and we are hoping to talk to that homeowner live on our air on the phone coming up at 6 o'clock, Nina. Thank you very much. It is 5:42. Also overnight, we learned some new details about the man arrested in Boston for leaving a backpack near the finish line. This is the guy that we're talking about. We got this video from our affiliate in Boston. Witnesses say the man was walking around covered in black netting, which you can kind of see in this video. He was shouting "Boston strong." Police evacuated the area around the finish line and sent a robot to detonate the backpack. They say that bag had a rice cooker in it, but no explosives. Officers found and detonated a second backpack, but won't say if it's connected. This is all happening on the 1-year anniversary of the marathon bombing, and it definitely rattled a lot of people's nerves. You will find more on the anniversary at kgw.com. Check out a photo timeline of the Boston bombing, get an interactive look back at the events 1 year ago, and learn more about the lingering security questions many people have before this year's marathon. It's all on our website, kgw.com.
After 5 days of cross-examination, it's now up to the defense to prove Oscar Pistorius did not intentionally shoot and kill his girlfriend, Reva Steenkamp. His attorneys started by calling to the stand a pathologist who wanted to talk about Steenkamp's wounds after she was shot through a closed bathroom door. Pistorius says he thought that she was an intruder. The trial will resume tomorrow before then getting postponed until next month.
Should Oregon try to salvage its broken healthcare exchange? That's what Cover Oregon's new interim boss is figuring out as he makes the first of several cost-cutting moves. Our news partner, The Oregonian, reports Cover Oregon canceled its deal with the technology consultant Deloitte, saving about $2 million. Expect the new director of the exchange to spend about 2 weeks looking into the site before recommending whether or not it can be saved.
If you're planning a trip to the Oregon coast, you might want to avoid this beach in Seaside. A gray whale, roughly the length of a school bus, washed ashore there yesterday. Scientists think it's been dead for a while, likely a few months. So far, experts don't know how it died or why, but in Seaside, the news spread quickly, and so did the smell.
Imagine you left a fish in the fridge for too long and you opened it and you're like, whoa, that's what it smells like out here.
When the wind gusts, it smells really bad, so it's not fun, but it's kind of cool, right?
And scientists say every year a few gray whales wash ashore during their spring migration to Alaska. The city will likely use backhoes and other heavy machinery to bury that whale on the beach.
It's 5:45. As you get up and get ready to head out the door, you will see plenty of clouds. Our tram cam proves it.
Yeah, and it looks a little misty. You know, I mean, that's probably a fair way to describe your morning so far. There's not a ton of real rain for Portland, but there's absolutely raindrops. So mostly cloudy on the tram cam now at 48 degrees. Let me go from this shot to this view. Notice how most of the rain is in western Washington. You still have some...
KGW, where the news comes first. News Channel 8 at Sunrise starts now.
And we want to get you up to speed this morning on our big breaking news story. In just the last 10 minutes, police arrested the man they say shot a Portland police officer early this morning. Police had locked down an entire neighborhood in southwest Portland for several hours while they looked for this guy who was on foot.
The search has been focused near 41st and Capitol Highway in southwest Portland. There's a map of this area. Neighbors were alerted via reverse 911 call and by officers. But again, police say they have arrested the man who shot their officer, possibly with a semi-automatic rifle.
And we have crews all over this story this morning. Kathy Marshall is at Legacy Emmanuel Hospital. That's where the officer is getting treated. Nina's heading to the spot where that suspect was arrested. We want to get out, though, to News Channel 8's Ashley Korsland right now, who is standing by with an update from police. And I see Sergeant Pete Simpson there, Ashley.
Yeah, Russ, you're not going to see me on camera. I'm stepping behind all the media right now. We are going to get a briefing from Sergeant Pete Simpson any second here, but I can tell you that the search for the gunman is over. Police say they have him in custody, and we are momentarily waiting to get more information. Let's actually listen in right now.
What do we know about the suspect?
Right now, we have good news to report. The suspect was taken into custody about 20 minutes ago. He was located in the 6900 block of Southwest Olson Road, so some distance from here. We knew the suspect was on foot. We knew the suspect was moving, and 911 calls from neighbors were critical to us being able to track down his location. That suspect is being transported to a Portland hospital. He is conscious, talking, does have some injuries. I don't know if they are gunshot injuries or injuries he sustained while running from the police. The officer is continuing to recover at a Portland hospital. He's at Legacy Emmanuel. He's in very good spirits, but certainly recovering from his injuries at this point. The officer is assigned to the canine unit, and as such, we are continuing to look for the officer's canine partner. The dog is unaccounted for at this point. We believe the dog may be injured in the exchange of gunfire. So we are asking residents near the initial scene at Capitol Highway and Lobelia in that immediate neighborhood to give us a call if they have any information or see anything. This dog is a German Shepherd. They're fairly large. He is wearing a police tactical vest and markings, and it should be very obvious he's a police canine. Right now we are shifting into the investigative phase, so we are closing down the tactical side of this shortly. There are no outstanding suspects. There is no outstanding risk to the community. The detectives are arriving, and we will begin the investigative phase of an officer-involved shooting to go back to the very beginning to figure out what led up to this entire incident.
Pete, how was the suspect taken into custody? Did he surrender?
He was contacted by officers from the CERT team who are doing a search in the area after receiving a 911 call. They encountered him, challenged him at gunpoint. He complied. Was taken into custody without incident.
Did he in fact have an AR-15?
We are continuing to look for his rifle and any other weapons he may have had. We do have an active article search in the area for those things. Certainly if any neighbors came out and found a gun in their yard, we would want to know that, or any property that maybe doesn't belong there, any clothing or anything, but primarily firearms. We are working on that right now.
Have you guys been able to positively identify him?
I haven't been able to give his ID yet or verify his identity. We had a tentative ID earlier. I don't know that that's been verified.
What about the incident that started with the traffic stop? Do you have any update about that? What started all this?
You know, I don't have any updates really on the initial incident. There was a traffic stop at right about Lobelia and Capitol Highway that preceded the shooting. I don't know what the stop was for or what they were investigating. That information will come a little bit later as detectives are able to start doing interviews and figuring out what led up to the incident.
Did he have any other weapons with him?
I'm not aware of any other weapons on him when he was taken into custody.
Can you describe
He was found, I don't know if he was in a yard or on the sidewalk or street out there, but 6900 block of Southwest Olson Road, 6900 block, which is, quite a distance from here, but he's had the ability to move for the last couple of hours. And again, calls from the public were critical to us knowing where to go, because we were working very hard in an area that we last saw him in. Those calls led us other directions, which ultimately led to his custody.
What types of things were people seeing? What were they calling in? Did he go into anybody's home?
I don't believe he went to anybody's home. People reported seeing a man walk down the street. I believe there may have been one where they saw a man that was carrying something. Perhaps they saw some of the initial reports about this incident and then put two and two together. I don't know that yet. We will have interviewed, or we'll be interviewing them just to track everywhere that he went so we can ensure that we recover the firearm.
Have any other suspects been taken into custody?
Nobody since the shooting. I don't know about if people have been detained from the car yet. I haven't worked that backwards.
As far as closures, what do neighbors need to know here?
So Capitol Highway is still closed, essentially, from north of Taylor's Ferry up to past Lobelia, which towards Multnomah Boulevard. That will probably remain closed. It'll be smaller than it is now, but it'll remain closed for quite a while as we go into the investigative phase. We have the officer-involved shooting traffic stop phase. We have the attempted aggravated murder of a police officer to investigate. We have the track between here and where he was taken into custody. We want to recover the firearm. And certainly right now our primary focus is finding our canine officer, a dog, who is loose and possibly injured.
What about the officer? Can we talk about how many times he was shot or where in his body yet?
At this point, not ready to release any medical information. I can say that he is in very good spirits, considering the circumstances. His primary concern right now is for his dog. He is very concerned about his dog. His family's with him at the hospital. He's doing very well, expected to make a full recovery. Right now, as for privacy, certainly he has more family to contact, and an incident like this is incredibly difficult for all the officers, certainly the officer involved, but his concern right now is for his canine partner who's out there.
This was quite an ordeal. Dozens of police out here from multiple agencies. You've got an officer shot, a gunman on the loose. What can you tell us just in general about this morning and what an ordeal it's been for you guys?
Well, certainly we have dozens of officers here from not only the Portland Police Bureau, but a lot of partner agencies who, without hesitation, rushed to offer their assistance. We have officers from Washington County, Beaverton, Multnomah County, Sherwood, Tualatin. Portland Fire and Rescue is here. They provide medics for our CERT team. Our air support was up. Something like this happens and you get that call, no matter where you are, where you work, and you're going to come and help and do whatever you can. So it's been a tremendous effort by all law enforcement here today, and it will continue to be as we go into the investigative phase.
Pete, you said that this officer is with the K-9 unit. Can you describe the relationship that these officers have with their K-9? I understand that they live with the officer.
They do. These canine officers, their dogs are a part of their family. They are working partners. They are working police dogs, very well trained, but they are also a member of the officer's family. They go home with them, they live with them, and when they're done working, often they become a part of the family in retirement. And so they have a very close relationship with their canine partners. And, certainly the community, it resonates with the community when our dogs are out and about. They always generate a lot of public interest, and people like to see the dogs, like to see the horses and any animal we have working for us. So right now, that's our focus, and we really want the community's help. If they see or hear anything that sounds like an injured animal in their yard, we need to know. We do have our other canine officers right now working the area trying to find the dog.
Do you know if they were by themselves?
Again, Officer Pete Simpson with the Portland Police Bureau updating us on the big news in this breaking situation that police have arrested a gunman who allegedly shot a police officer. They made that arrest in the 6900 block of Southwest Olson Road just about 5:40 this morning. That suspect transported to a hospital for his injuries.
And quite a ways from the neighborhood they have blocked off. Sergeant Simpson making it clear that it was community members, neighbors calling in 911 that helped them track down this guy. In fact, we're joined live now on the phone by a man who actually confronted this gunman this morning.
Scary stuff. His name is David Bell. David, good morning. First of all, we're so glad that you're okay after what you've been through. Can you please just walk us through what happened?
Yeah, of course. I'm glad I'm okay as well. I didn't quite know what the scenario was at the time I confronted the guy. It probably would have changed my process a bit if I had known. I woke up hearing my dog bark, who sleeps in the garage, and realized that was strange. Jumped up to the deck, which is kind of just over the garage, and saw a guy running through my yard, but not extremely fast. And so I was yelling at him, and he kind of sauntered off up towards the street. And so I got ready and went out and with a flashlight and took a look. Couldn't find him. Walked up the street about a quarter of a mile, and on my way back heard something in somebody else's yard and shined a flashlight, and that's when he and I came into contact.
And what did he say to you?
Well, I was actually talking to him. I was telling him to get out here. You know, what are you doing back there? Come out here. And that's when he kind of walked out of the shadows from behind the house, and I saw that he had the assault rifle, and he raised it and pointed at me and said he didn't want to do it, but he would shoot if he had to. And I let him know he didn't have to do it, and just to calm down and just relax. And I told him that I had already called the police, so he might want to think about getting out of there. I had not yet called the police yet. You know, he continued to point the gun at me for a little while, but then ended up dropping it after I kind of calmed him down a little bit, and then he ended up becoming very apologetic. He had blood on his face. He said, I've been hit. I don't know quite what I'm doing. I'm a little confused. I'm so sorry. And I said, well, listen, bud, you can't do this around here. You can't be pointing guns. You can't be going through people's stuff. And he just kept apologizing, and he told me to call the police back to tell him not to come after. I said, it just doesn't work that way. And he ended up kind of running up the street, and that's when I called 911 for the first time.
And David, can you tell us anything else about this man? You mentioned blood on his face. What did he look like? What age range do you think he was?
Yeah, you know, he wasn't all that old. I'm just guessing. He was probably 18, 19, maybe low 20s. He was wearing very baggy clothes. He was a white guy with a shaved head. And I honestly didn't even know at that time if the rifle was real, because he just was kind of a goofy guy, and very apologetic and very confused. Did not look like he was out to make trouble, because his clothes were real baggy. He just didn't look very prepared, but obviously the rifle that he had was a very serious rifle, and I'm not sure if it was his or not. But yeah, it just struck me as kind of odd that he would be carrying around that rifle, which obviously was a little bit startling.
Well, and also strange, I think, David. Now, you didn't at that point didn't know what had been going on, but you said he set down the rifle, and did he walk off without it? He left it there?
Oh no, he kept it. He just dropped it, because he was pointing the gun at me for a good, I'm just guessing maybe 45 seconds, and then he just kind of dropped it down. So he didn't let go of it. He was still holding it. And he went running off with it. I didn't see any other weapons. I just saw the rifle, and he went running off with that gun.
David, you went to protect your property and see what was going on, you know, after you saw this guy run away. Did you have family inside your house at the time?
Yeah, I definitely did. And I honestly, I was very concerned about that. I didn't go after this guy thinking that it was somebody that was an armed intruder. I honestly thought it might have been somebody that was looking for a few things to steal and sell, especially seeing the guy run off. Now that I know that he's injured, it makes sense, but he wasn't running very fast. I almost thought it might have been an older gentleman when I was still up on my deck, because he wasn't running extremely fast. I realized I might be able to catch up to him. Wouldn't have done that if I'd seen the gun. But yeah, I was very worried about my family, and this is not an area where we normally have to worry about this, but he went through two of my vehicles, which were parked outside of the garage. I've checked him this morning. He didn't steal anything. I'm guessing he was just trying to find a vehicle that he could get away in.
Yeah, he was desperate at that point. I'm just curious, what did your family say once all this came to light? I mean, I can only imagine the conversation.
Yeah, my wife turned on the news as I was out searching, so I got a phone call as I was walking back after I already confronted this guy, and she said, you better get back. There's a guy out there that has a gun, and I said, yeah, I just met him. And so we would have completely done things differently. I would not have gone out there, and I'll probably rethink in the future. But yeah, I was concerned about my family. I was concerned about the property, and it's just not something that happens here all that often.
But you don't live in the area they were searching, correct?
No, I'm about halfway between where the first incident took place and where they ended up catching this person. So, I mean, he was definitely on the move.
Well,
yeah, I want to just curious, how far away would you estimate you are from the neighborhood that they had kind of locked down? Do you know? Is it a half mile or is it several miles?
No, it's probably about a mile to a mile and a half from that spot. And then he's about where they're saying they took him into custody is about another half a mile from where I am right here.
So
That's probably pretty much straight line.
So now you're just going to get ready to go to work and go on about your day?
Yeah. It'll be a story to tell, I guess.
No doubt, and I hope that we get to see you in person and not just out on the phone with an interview. David Bell, we appreciate all the information, but again, you're pretty amazing and very cool, calm, and collected the way that you dealt with this gunman. That is impressive. We are so glad you're okay.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Honestly, I wouldn't have done it if I had known the situation beforehand. I just went into it not knowing, so maybe that's why I was a little bit more calm. It would have been a different story if I had heard you guys reporting this and then gone out.
All right, we need you to tune in a little more often then, David, from now
That's
on. All right,
right.
That's what you need to do. We appreciate you joining us this morning, and wow, what a story from him. He confronted that gunman before police made the arrest here just a short time ago. We now know the injured officer here, the one who was shot, is getting treated this morning at Legacy Emmanuel Medical Center.
News Channel 8's Kathy Marshall continues our coverage this morning. She's there live. Kathy, what have you been hearing about the officer this morning?
Well, I heard, as you did, from Officer Pete Simpson that he is recovering. He's in good spirits, and his concern now is for his missing canine partner. Officer Simpson also saying that his family has joined him here. We do know simply that he's from the canine unit. We don't know the extent of his injuries at this point. We have seen a few officers come and go here during the last hour, and they certainly had a sense of relief about them, almost a calm. I think they came rushing here expecting the worst. That is not the case, thank goodness. The officer, again, recovering, described in good spirits, but very concerned about his missing canine partner. Russ and Brenda, back to you.
Understandable. They are so close. Thank you very much, Kathy.
A lot of information coming in on this story all morning long. We will continue to be right on top of it here on News Channel 8. Stay tuned. We'll have the story on the air, of course, and on our website at kgw.com. We'll be back with more right after this.
KGW, where the news comes first. News Channel 8 at sunrise starts now.
And now at 6:30, we have breaking news. Portland police arrest a suspected gunman who is accused of shooting one of their officers early this morning. What you're looking at right here, this is a cell phone recording from News Channel 8's Nina Melhoff, and that's inside of an ambulance. And the guy you're looking at there is the accused gunman from just a few minutes ago after he was taken into custody on Southwest Olison Road. This is before they took him away in that ambulance. Where they arrested him is 2 to 3 miles away from where they were looking and where that officer was shot, near 41st and Capitol Highway.
Right now, you're looking live at Sky 8 Pictures. This is the ambulance carrying the suspect. It has just arrived and pulled into that spot at OHSU. We have breaking news team coverage this morning. Kathy Marshall is at Legacy Emmanuel, where the wounded officer is recovering. Nina Melhoff is at the site of the arrest with that new video. But first, let's check in with Ashley Korsland. She is live this morning at the police command post. Ashley.
Well, Brendan, Russ, there's a big sigh of relief in the neighborhood this morning as police tell us they have the suspected gunman in custody. We're told he was taken to the hospital and is receiving medical treatment, but we do not know the extent of his injuries at this time. We're told he is conscious and talking to police officers. Meanwhile, still a very active scene here in Southwest Portland as the investigation phase begins now into what exactly unfolded. Now, here's what we've learned. Police took the shooting suspect into custody in the 6900 block of Olison Road. They say he was on foot at the time. We know that police believed he had an AR-15 assault rifle on him earlier, but police say they did not find the weapon on him. So that is something they are still looking for. Now, police say they're still looking into exactly what unfolded at the scene, but they say it started as a traffic stop this morning on Capitol Highway, where they say that the suspect and the police officer exchanged gunfire. So let's listen into a soundbite from Police Sergeant Pete Simpson as he walks us through a big concern still this morning is the missing canine, as that officer is a canine handler. His dog is still missing. Take a listen.
The officer is assigned to the canine unit, and as such, we are continuing to look for the officer's canine partner. The dog is unaccounted for at this point. We believe the dog may be injured in the exchange of gunfire. So we are asking residents near the initial scene at Capitol Highway and Lobelia in that immediate neighborhood to give us a call if they have any information or see anything.
So again, the officer is a canine officer. He's receiving care in the hospital right now. We're told he's in good spirits and he's with his family members at this time, but the investigation just beginning. And again, police looking for that officer's dog, which went missing after that shooting this morning, and they are concerned that the dog could be injured, as you heard there in that interview. Now, right now, as far as the suspect goes, again, police looking for that AR-15 in the area. They want neighbors to call police if you do find any articles of clothing or if you do happen to find a weapon in your neighborhood. Call 911. We do not have any identification on the suspect at this time, but we did get an update from Pete Simpson with Portland Police. He says he hopes to put that information out sometime this afternoon. So again, neighbors in this area expect the road here to be blocked for several hours as this investigation continues. Back to you.
They still have to piece a lot of things together. You're right, Ashley. Thank you.
And Chris McGinnis will run down those traffic closures for us here in a couple of minutes. But first, our Nina Melhoff, she's been moving all over the place this morning, and she is at a new location now.
And Nina, you're live there at Southwest Olison Road, and you just got this exclusive video of the gunman, the accused gunman.
That's right, Brenda and Russ. We are the only station bringing you these live pictures from where this suspect was arrested. Take a look down there. You see that police car, and then right next to it, you see that yellow tape sort of connected to those garbage cans. That is where this shooting suspect was captured and arrested. And we have exclusive video you will only see on 8 of that suspect in the back of an ambulance just about 20 minutes ago, a half hour ago now, being treated by medics. We could see through the ambulance doors. He had blood covering his face, possibly some injuries on his head, but he was alert and speaking with paramedics and officers. But a heavy SWAT presence still here in this neighborhood, along with that suspect on the escort to the hospital. That is because they are still looking for that gun that he dropped or left somewhere in this neighborhood. This is Southwest Canby and Southwest Olison Drive here. And that is where that suspect was arrested. They are canvassing this area. We just saw a few seconds ago a team of armed SWAT guys with their canine looking in the bushes with flashlights. This is also near Fano Creek area. They were looking down into the creek bed for that weapon. Also, you guys were talking with David Bell. That's that homeowner. He lives just a few houses up here on 60th and Canby. That is where he ran into that suspect about 4 a.m. this morning. He said his dog started barking. He thought something was up in the garage. He went to check it out and saw someone running away. It turned out to be that suspect who pulled the rifle on this homeowner and said, "I don't want to have to shoot you, but I will if I have to." And that homeowner said, "Calm down. He's already called the cops, just take off." And that suspect ran away, and that's where they sort of lost the gun ever since that point right up the street. So it's somewhere in this vicinity, but that suspect is on his way to OHSU, and you saw that exclusive video. He is alert and talking to officers, but he is injured. Back to you.
And Nina, thank you very much. It was a crazy interview. We talked to David Bell just about 30 minutes ago, the homeowner that you mentioned. Listen to what he has to say for himself.
Well, I was actually talking to him. I was telling him to get out here. You know, what are you doing back there? Come out here. And that's when he kind of walked out of the shadows from behind the house, and I saw that he had the assault rifle, and he raised it and pointed at me and said he didn't want to do it, but he would shoot if he had to. And I let him know he didn't have to do it, and just to calm down and just relax. And I told him that I had already called the police, so he might want to think about getting out of there. I had not yet called the police yet. You know, he continued to point the gun at me for a little while, but then ended up dropping it after I kind of calmed him down a little bit, and then he ended up becoming very...
Yeah, Bell had no idea what was going on. The police were looking for this guy at the time he did this. He says the suspect did have blood on his face and said he had been hit. He also says this guy apologized to him before finally running away. All right, we know the injured officer here is getting treated this morning at Legacy Emmanuel Medical Center.
News Channel 8's Kathy Marshall just arrived there. Kathy, what have you learned?
Well, Brenda, the officer was brought here just after 3 this morning. By 5 o'clock, we had heard reports from Portland police that his injuries were not life-threatening. And shortly after that, we saw a few officers leaving the emergency room looking very much relieved. Then within the last half hour, we heard this update from Sergeant Pete Simpson.
The officer is continuing to recover at a Portland hospital. He's at Legacy Emmanuel. He's in very good spirits, but certainly recovering from his injuries at this point.
Officer Simpson couldn't give us any details about the extent of the officer's injuries, but he did say his family is with him as he begins his recovery here at Legacy Emmanuel. Russ and Brenda, back to you.
All right, Kathy Marshall there live at Emmanuel. Thank you.
And when we come back this morning, we will continue our live coverage. Also check in with Chris McGinnis talking about those road closures that will stay in place now for several hours this morning, even though the gunman has been arrested. You're watching News Channel 8 at Sunrise, where the news comes first.
Your Sunrise Quickcast begins with breaking news in southwest Portland. Police have a man in custody who's accused of shooting and injuring a Portland K-9 police officer. We don't know the suspect's name yet, but we're told he's receiving medical attention for unknown injuries. Police say the suspect shot the officer during a traffic stop near Capitol Highway and Lobelia. The suspect then took off, spurring a several-hour search where neighbors were asked to stay inside their homes. Police say there are no outstanding suspect and there's no public safety risk, but they're concerned because the officer's K-9 is still missing and could be injured. Reporting live in southwest Portland, I'm Ashley Korsland for KGW News Channel 8.
I'm Kathy Marshall live at Legacy Emmanuel, where that injured officer is being treated. Police officer Sergeant Pete Simpson says the officer is okay. He's recovering. He's said to be in good spirits, and his family is with him here at Legacy Emmanuel. And his concern now is for his missing K-9 partner. Live at Legacy, Kathy Marshall, KGW News Channel 8.
And here's a live look at that crash scene and traffic stop that led to that police chase, I should say, and that suspect in custody. You're looking live right now near the intersection of Capitol Highway and about southwest 41st Avenue. This is likely to be blocked all morning long. It's having impacts on some TriMet lines as well. Lines 43, 44, and 64 experiencing some light delays as they detour around the area. Best to avoid Capitol Highway. Use Barber Boulevard to get around that. Also, just getting word of an overturned log truck on the Lewis and Clark Bridge between Rainier and Longview. Logs and fuel spilled up there. The Lewis and Clark Bridge is currently closed. I'm Chris McGinnis for KGW News Channel 8.
Just about an hour ago, we talked to the man who confronted that suspected gunman in his neighborhood. David Bell's interaction with that guy was terrifying.
Well, I was actually talking to him. I was telling him to get out here. You know, what are you doing back there? Come out here. And that's when he kind of walked out of the shadows from behind the house. And I saw that he had the assault rifle, and he raised it and pointed at me and said he didn't want to do it, but he would shoot if he had to. And I let him know he didn't have to do it, and just to calm down and just relax. And I told him that I had already called the police, so he might want to think about getting out of there. I had not yet called the police yet. You know, he continued to point the gun at me for a little while, but then ended up dropping it after I kind of calmed him down a little bit. And then
Bell says the suspect had blood on his face and said that he'd been hit. He also says the guy apologized to him before running away.
The Portland Water Bureau has shut down reservoir number 5 at Mount Tabor. Police suspect 2 young people may have urinated in the water. This is video of a similar incident back in 2011. The Water Bureau has taken the reservoir now offline as it decides if it will drain it, because right now workers need to figure out exactly what those kids actually did first.
Also, the Portland Public School District is getting ready to hire between 350 and 400 people. The district is holding a job fair today at Marshall High School. More than 125 candidates have scheduled interviews.
Mostly cloudy skies this morning. We have some light showers out there. Most of you will hit a few raindrops when we head outside this morning, but you know, I don't really see a lot. Most of the showers on the radar now are in the foothills, east of 205, or at the coast. You're only going to hit about 58 today. I would expect to see the coast, you know, some scattered showers, just a few in the valley, if anything. From there, let's go with rain tomorrow. Everybody sees it. It's not one of those days where it's like, well, you might get a raindrop. It's just rainy. Friday, partly sunny, mainly dry. And then I'm going to go with increasing clouds and some rain Saturday night. but not Saturday. And Easter Sunday, mid-60s and partly sunny before we go back to showers for Monday and Tuesday.
Thank you, Nick.
And we hope you'll keep it right here on News Channel 8 this morning for continuing coverage of our breaking news. A Portland police officer shot and the arrest of the suspected gunman in Southwest Portland. There are still some streets shut down. We will stay on top of it all morning long with live updates during the Today Show. If you have to leave for work, you can follow the story on KGW.com mobile and at KGW News on Twitter. We'll see you back here in about 25 minutes. Have a great morning.